All right, now here's part 2 of Track Talk, Charlie Watts Style and Analysis. I hope you're digging it so far. I really appreciate you watching. Enjoy. See you on the other side. Anyway, we're going to move on to Exile on Main Street. I'm going to play Tumbling Dice, an absolute favorite song of mine. This is a pretty special song, and a couple of things I just want to point out. When I bought the 45 in the summer of 1972, when this song was on the radio, when this record came out, I bought the 45 for Tumbling Dice. And I'm not kidding you, I'm not making this up, and you people that know me know I'm kind of a nutball when it comes to this stuff. But I could swear that I heard what sounded like flamming in the song, but I didn't really know what flamming was. I was just learning how to play the drums. I couldn't put my finger on what it was, but it sounded like there's something odd with the beat, with the snare drum beat, the backbeat. It seemed to almost sort of skip, like it wasn't always a solid beat. It almost had what we now call what we know as a flam. So of course, in recent years, we've learned that it's Jimmy Miller and Charlie Watts playing. They doubled up the drum track. As the story goes, I never got the full story from Charlie that Jimmy plays the end of it. So I'm not sure if Jimmy played the basic track and Charlie overdubbed on top of that, or if Charlie played the basic track and Jimmy Miller came in and played the end of it. I'm not sure how they would have done that back then. But in any case, it's both Charlie and Jimmy Miller. The drum fills, certainly in the middle of it during the instrumental and during the transition from the verse to the chorus, they sound like classic Charlie fills. So I'm going to go with that. Those are Charlie fills. I mean, Jimmy was a fine drummer and could probably do a great Charlie imitation, but I know that's Charlie playing those fills. But what I'm going to do, I just took a minute before I started today, just made a couple of notes. And you might not be able to follow along because of the lag that we're having while I stream this to you. But listen at home. If you have this, I'm sure you have this song in your library. As early as 6 seconds into this song, you're going to hear a flam. 6 seconds. You'll hear another one at about 9 seconds. And then another one at about 56 seconds. So write that down if you think of it. 6 seconds, 9 seconds, about 56, and then even more toward the end too. And it's if nothing else, it's just really cool to dig in deep like this, to hear these kinds of things that crazy people like me like to listen to. So check it out. This is to me the crown jewel of Exile on Main Street. It's a masterpiece. Legend has it that it took them, like 150 takes to get this right. They had a lot of things working against them in those days. Not the least of which, I should say, was the fact they were recording it in Keith's basement in France, in the south of France. People were coming and going at different times. Bill and Charlie were both staying, hours away. So when Keith decided to record, and he would just basically grab whoever was available to record. So that's why you see Mick Taylor playing bass on a number of songs. Jimmy Miller's on Happy and Shine a Light. Purely because Charlie wasn't there when they just pressed go. Keith had the idea. Let's go. Let's record. And so this song in particular is Mick Taylor on bass, and Keith, I believe, is playing all the guitars. Mick Taylor may have overdubbed a guitar, but it's Keith playing the solo in the middle, which was kind of rare back then. By 1971, Mick Taylor was really the lead guitarist in the band. When they recorded this in the summer of 71, Mick was really the sort of de facto lead guitar player, but Keith, such a soulful, amazing musician, had a riff in his head and played it. So this is the masterpiece we know as Tumbling Dice.
Hey!
This is Charlie. Riding the floor tom like brown sugar. Little flam right there. The idea of the double drums was genius because it thickens up the sound so much. And now when I hear that song, you know, when you hear it live, it's great, but you can hear the difference between one drum track and two drum tracks, in my ears anyway. It sounds great live. I've heard it a million times live. But when you hear the studio version, the drums sound, you know, just so thick and full that only really layering two tracks together can do. And the other thing I should have mentioned ahead of time to listen for, but you can all go back and listen to it another time, is this song is a great example of Charlie's push and pull, the way he makes the time sort of feel like it's pushing forward, but it's either really right on the beat or even a little behind the beat. And the way he does that is he plays the hi-hat, well, right-handed, plays the hi-hat, and he opens and closes it with his foot. So he plays that airy, and it creates this elastic push-pull feel to the tune. That song and the song Rocks Off, also on Exile on Main Street, many others, but those two songs really stand out on this record. You can hear him playing just straight eighth notes on the hi-hat and then opening and closing it very subtly. They're not real big hi-hat barks like he does in Angie and some of these other songs. It's almost like he's just playing the time with his foot, you know, little quarter notes with his foot just to open and close the hi-hat, and it just gives it like a seesaw feeling. Incredible. You can't, you know, you really can't copy Charlie's feel. You can do your best to cop it, but you know, there's way too much of just Charlie's juju and mojo involved to really ever really kind of get it exactly right. That's how I feel anyway, as someone who's certainly tried. Yeah. Yes, Charlie and Jimmy Miller both playing drums at the same time. Absolutely. All right, so we're going to move on here. I'm going to just take a look. I know I'm kind of going around here. I'm going to play a little bit of this next song. It's a great groovy song from Exile on Main Street. It's a little bit of a departure from what the kind of beats that Charlie usually plays. But nevertheless, it's a classic. It's Ventilator Blues, and my understanding is that Bobby Keys helped Charlie, get the time, get the groove for this. Charlie wasn't really following what Keith was looking for when they were doing this song. And again, anybody who knows the story better, please feel free to chime in. But I'm going to just play a little bit of this song to keep things moving ahead. But it's worth giving a listen to. Ventilator Blues. Pretty greasy. Slinky. And this is a great example of Charlie playing behind the beat. Just a little behind it. All you drummers listening, watching, know what I'm talking about. He just sits back. All right. I'm sorry to cut this one off. I'm going to just move on to another track that I wasn't going to play, but I am going to play now. Just ahead of it, I want to just say, check out the push-pull thing I was talking about with Charlie playing the hi-hat, opening and closing his foot. About the first and second verse, you can really hear it. All right. So, and this song is Rocks Off from Exile on Main Street. It's the first song on the record. If you know the record, you know. Incredible album track. They play it live sometimes. And again, just dig the sound of his drums. This is probably the song that really hooked me. Hearing this record, hearing this song, the sound of his snare drum, his bass drum sounds ridiculous on this. It just sounds so open and full and just full of tone. And I just love the way they recorded it. It's boomy. It's what a bass drum is supposed to sound like, you know? It's not thuddy and dead. So check it out. But also give a listen, all you drummers with critical ears and all you other folks, civilians out there, give a listen to the hi-hat, and you can hear these little places where he's opening and closing his foot during the groove, and you just feel it's the time is not moving, it's not shifting, it's not speeding up or slowing down. It's just more elastic. This is the only way I can explain it. It just really breathes. So here's Rocks Off.
What's the matter with the boy?
All right, you're just going to have to listen to your own version of that song to hear the rest of it. I'm going to move on to my last song from Exile on Main Street, but there's plenty more great songs on that record, no doubt. My all-time favorite Rolling Stones song, I guess if I had to pick one, this is it. This song is, again, another example of that Charlie sort of push-pull thing that he does with the hi-hat. This song just, again, really speaks to me. He stretches out a lot in it. He sets up the verses, the choruses. He puts in these great fills that just stay out. They're great fills, but they stay out of the way of the rest of the band. To me, it's a perfect drum track. And, you know, as we learn more about the recording process back in those days, you know, I have some great drummers watching right now that could attest to this, that work in the studio all the time. And, you know, you can nowadays go in and fix anything. You can punch this in, you can re-record that, you can Pro Tools in a new part. When the Stones were recording these records, if you had to go with a good take. And I think the point I'm making is that this song and this version that we hear, there's been other alternate versions of this song and all these other Rolling Stones releases. But every time you hear it, it has the same rhythm track because this was such a great take. They never veered away from this rhythm track. Charlie's, you know, drum track, Bill Wyman's bass track. Fills at the end, Carrie. Yes. Don McCauley chiming in with a very good point about the end of Rocks Off. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm going back to All Down the Line. I saw Don. I got distracted. Sorry. All Down the Line. You know, this to me, it demonstrates the fact that it's as perfect a drum track as there ever could be. And you know, this song I could listen to it 100 times every day and never get sick of it. So check it out. Big Phil coming up right here. Such a great song. If you've seen the Stones in recent years, you know they extend that ending quite a bit, and it's really cool to hear them just stretch it and go. And I know that was one of Charlie's favorite songs. I remember talking with him about it and telling him it was my favorite song. And he, you know, as humble as he always was, he, he'd say something like, "Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one." Yeah, all down the line, man. Great song. I remember seeing them do that live on the Ladies and Gentlemen, It's the Rolling Stones movie, and with Mick Taylor in the band, and you can see that on YouTube. It's just unbelievable, that version of it. It's like on fire, basically. All right, gonna wrap things up in a few more minutes here. Gonna keep moving along. I'm gonna jump away for a minute and play a little surprise song that I think some people know. It's Charlie, some might not know. It's kind of interesting, though, that this next song and the artist that wrote this song, if you go backwards a second, 1974, we know that Kenny Jones came in to play a demo version of It's Only Rock and Roll, But I Like It, and ended up making it on the record, and that's what you hear now on the song is Kenny. And then Kenny later goes on to play with The Who. He was in the Faces at the time. But after the untimely passing of Keith Moon, Kenny goes on to join The Who as their drummer. That was in 1978. In 1976, the leader of The Who, none other than Pete Townshend, put out a solo record with Ronnie Lane and had Charlie record on it. And this song, I'll just set this up by saying I'd heard this song on the radio. This would have been I've heard it many times, but the last time I saw Charlie in person was the Rolling Stones show at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Mass. In July 2019. My buddy Don McCauley, of course, was there and so accommodating as always. So that was the last time I saw Charlie, and I had just heard the song on the radio a few days before that, and it got me thinking about it again. I remembered it from when it was on the radio as a kid. So I downloaded it, and I was listening to it a lot. And I said to Charlie that night at the gig, I've been listening to My Baby Gives It Away by Pete Townshend, and he had this big smile on his face. And he didn't do that often. And he said, that's a great song. Yeah, that was a fun one. That's a good one. And Don McCauley and anybody that knew Charlie would tell you that takes a lot for him to ever, make any sort of positive comment about anything he's done. He was just so humble, and I think he was very proud of that song. So anyway, this is a great song where Charlie steps out of his sort of comfort zone, so to speak, but nevertheless, I'm sure he's very comfortable. I know Pete Townshend absolutely loved Charlie, adored him, as did everybody. And here's Charlie lending his talents to Pete Townshend and Ronnie Lane. No mistaking Charlie in the hi-hat there. Just clean, steady eighth notes.
She doesn't need it, but she says it's alright. My baby digs into some rolling away. My baby gives it up every day. My baby gives it, she gives it away. My baby gives it up every day. My baby, she just gives it away. When you're alone in some city hotel, you can get company by ringing a bell. You might go pick up a girl on the street. Well, my baby gives it up totally free. My baby's counting won't cause you alarm. My baby's brother never break your arm. My baby, I love her. She's cheap.
Listen to that groove.
My baby, my baby, my
Great dynamic right there. Pulls back a little bit. That crash. Yeah, he gets the last word in too, of course. Man, what a great song. Yeah, I was digging it. And to me, again, that's another example of Charlie definitely not playing behind the beat, just playing, really on the beat, driving the song, grooving. A couple of people commented on the hi-hat work. I mean, to me, that's just pure beauty when you can just play it so clean and steady and just everything just kind of fits around it. He laid down this beautiful foundation and everybody just sort of fit around it, built on top of it. It's great. Fantastic. Following Pete like he followed Keith. Absolutely. Got a couple more songs and I'm going to jump ahead. This, and the other thing I wanted to point out, I think people make this assumption about Charlie's playing that he, the bit where he doesn't play the last note on the hi-hat lifts on 4 when he's playing, eighth notes on the hi-hat. That was something he didn't, by my estimation, did not start doing until the late 70s, maybe even the early 80s. But I'd say at the earliest, it was the late 70s. In the 60s and in the 70s, you saw him playing straight eighth notes on a song like that. He'd be playing. He wasn't lifting off. And I only say that because I think I've heard some people be critical of that for whatever reason. The reason that he does that, if you were to ask him that, I don't know that he could really give you an answer. I've heard different answers, or people claim he's given different answers. I know that he had said that he thought he had seen Jim Keltner doing it, and he got the idea from Jim Keltner. And Jim Keltner said he got the idea of doing it from Levon Helm. And I've spoken to Jim Keltner about it as well. So I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Late 70s. But anyway, I'm only making that point that a lot of these records are really everything we've listened to up till now for what it's worth, if it even matters to you. Charlie was playing, the way that all of us drummers play, kind of the standard eighth note pattern, not lifting on 4 and just playing it right through. So the whole idea, I think people have this misconception that sometime back in the 60s, he came up with this idea to lift off on 4 so that the backbeat was more pronounced. It certainly helped achieve that when he did decide to do that, but that was not why he did that. At least I don't think so. I think it was just a habit that maybe he developed at a point or he had seen Jim Keltner or Levon Helm or someone do it and he just started doing it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. This next song I'm going to play jumps forward a little bit. I'm not really going to get too into recent Rolling Stones songs. I only have so much time here. But this song is is a great song, and it's maybe unknown by a lot of people because it was not a hit. It's an album track. It's from Steel Wheels, 1989. And what's interesting is, this was their first record after they took a pretty long break. There was a question as to whether they'd ever return again. They had a lot of disharmony in the 80s, Mick and Keith. They patched things up, and they did this great record in 1989, Steel Wheels, huge tour, one of the biggest tours ever. And so this song is from that. And I chose this song because I love the song, first of all. And it's another great example of Charlie's driving groove. I think you could say on this song, he's playing on top of the beat. He's certainly not playing behind the beat. And I invite all my drummer friends to comment and give me their thoughts on it. But he drives the song, and this is at a time when by the 80s, really even the late 70s, you could argue, but certainly the 80s, Charlie had switched his style somewhat to play more of a four on the floor approach on the bass drum. He had pretty much, I think for economics, he was looking to just get more drive out of a song, and by doing, just straight quarter notes with his bass drum, he could achieve that more of a driving rhythm. And he kind of, there were still songs where he plays, the standard boom, zap, boom, boom. But this is an example of him really, driving the song with those four on the floor bass drum parts and really pushing the song along. So here it comes. Sad, sad, sad. Well, here is Hip China times two. You guys hearing his bass drum? This song has Running Wood on bass as well. Listen to where he drops in these cymbal beats, these cymbal crashes rather. They're just going to land like bombs. Good. In a good way. So if you don't know that song, it's on Steel Wheels. It's the first song. So definitely pick that record up. It's a great record. I'm going to play one more song. I'm going to jump backwards in time here. And this song celebrates its 50th birthday this year. To me, it's a beautiful, elegant song that I chose this as the last song to, I think, really emphasize just how Charlie had the ability, like Ringo and like, all these great drummers, Steve Gadd, Jeff Porcaro, Jody Cortez, who's watching right now, Rick Marotta, all these legendary drummers, I could go on and on, Jim Keltner, that played for the song. They played parts that complemented what was happening around them. They didn't play fills and things because they wanted to play those fills, to please themselves. They picked places to put things, and oftentimes they left things wide open, put nothing in there. It seems like a simple thing, but I feel like it's kind of a lost art in many ways that drummers, I think it takes certain drummers to get to a point in their life where they understand this. Charlie had the great instinct very early on to know this, as did Ringo and all these other drummers I mentioned, to kind of know the importance of creating a great song and a drum part to support it, not something that was going to, just impress a lot of drummers with something technical or whatever. This song, of course, when you hear it, you'll realize there's no way to ever play anything technical in this because it would have completely ruined the song. He would have got fired. But anyway, I'm going to play this last song, and I'm going to thank you guys for tuning in and indulging me. Happy 82nd birthday to my hero, Charlie Watts. I'm glad I can do this with you guys today. If Charlie were still with us, he'd probably lose my number, and I wouldn't be his friend anymore if he knew I was doing this. So no, I'm kidding. I miss him terribly. I miss just, being able to pick up the phone and call him from time to time and just hearing his voice. That was pretty special to be able to do that. And he was very encouraging. When I got back into playing drums again, he would always ask me how my band was doing, how I was doing, how my wife was doing, and my kids, and later my grandkids. And, really just pretty incredible that the guy that was so responsible for me becoming a drummer was actually interested in my drumming. Still kind of blows my mind. But I'll always have that. So anyway, all right, I'm going to play this last song, and you're going to know what it is right away when you hear the opening guitar lick. It's Angie from Goat's Head Soup. It's a beautiful song. Just, if you haven't already done this, just zero in on Charlie's drumming. Just listen to what he's playing on the hi-hat. Listen to what he does to transition from the verse to the chorus. He plays the ride cymbal in certain places. What he plays on the hi-hat to accent the vocal. It's beautiful. It really is. He's playing to the vocal. He's playing to the song. It's just fantastic. So check it out.
Angie, when will those clouds all disappear? Angie, Angie, where will it lead us from here? With no loving in our souls and no money in our coats, you can say we're satisfied. But Angie, Angie, you can't say we never tried. Angie, you're beautiful, yeah. But ain't it time we said still love you. Remember all those nights we cried.
Way behind the beat.
All the
Check it out.
dreams we held so close seem to all go up in smoke. Let me whisper in your ear, Angie, Angie. Where will it linger from here? Oh, Angie, don't you weep. All your kisses still taste sweet. I hate that sadness in your eyes. But Angie, ain't it time we said goodbye? With no loving in our households and no money in our coats, you can't say we're satisfied. But Angie, I still love you, baby. Everywhere I look, I see your eyes. There ain't a woman that comes close to you. Come on, baby, dry your eyes. Angie, ain't it good to be alive? Angie, we can't say we never tried.
Man. Wow. All right. Yeah, just beautiful. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. You know, I could go on and on, obviously, about Charlie all day long. So we've gone longer than I thought we would. I appreciate you guys hanging in there. I guess it was all that great music I played that kept you here. So I appreciate that. All right. So stay tuned for a future episode of Live from My Drum Room and Track Talk coming soon. And really appreciate you guys hanging in there with me today. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, podcast channels, and I'll see you all real soon. Again, thanks for watching. See you soon. That's my show. Thanks for watching, everybody. Track Talk, Charlie Watts Style and Analysis. I'll see you again real soon with another episode of Live from My Drum Room and Track Talk. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And remember, no drummers are ever harmed on Track Talk or Live from My Drum Room. And when in doubt, leave it out. See you soon. Thanks again for watching.